Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're going to get into our top 10 wide receiver rankings. Last week we did our top 10 running backs, and we didn't get a lot of hate for it. There's only some, Jeff. There's a little bit of hate. And it all revolves around Todd Gurley, which I'm gonna save it. How about that? I'll tease it. Hey, go check out our YouTube. Go subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. I might have a little Todd Gurley rant there later on, I'm thinking. Because I don't know about you, Jeff, but are you ready for this? Todd, we're like banking our whole 2019 on Todd Gurley here.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
It feels like it. That's what everyone's making me think. But
yeah, it's way too early in the season. I think there's two ways to think about it. You're either, ranking him high, thinking that he's healthy, which right now it looks as he is, and that's what everyone's saying. Or you're saying that, no, I don't think that he's going to last through a year, which there's not a whole lot of argument to back that up at the moment. And then you put him down, but he's not going to make it out of the first round. So it's really how risky are you willing to take? And as we get closer to the season, I'm sure that it will kind of average out. My guess is he'll probably end up being like the number 5 running back instead of, getting rid of these crazy numbers where people are dropping him out of the top 10 of running backs.
But maybe I'll have more to say later. We'll find out. But yeah, go check us out on YouTube as well. youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet or Instagram. I posted my current top 22 ranks over there on Instagram. You can take a look at that and see. We've got quite a few comments. Again, a lot of Todd Gurley stuff, so go check that out if you want, or visit our website at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And there I actually have all of my rankings so far. I got quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. If you want to see the full ranks, the early ranks, they're still being moved around obviously a little bit, but check them out there. So today's wide receivers, and we're going to go through our top 10. Again, we'll go 1 through 10. There's a couple. We'll find out here. I don't know what you have yet. I have no clue. So sometimes I think people think we're do this to we both put Gurley second last week and other stuff. But there's no collaboration with our ranks. It's all independent. So
yeah, not this early in the season.
I have no idea what you're thinking so far in this. So we'll go 1 through 10. See if. I don't think there's a lot of craziness in this, though.
Not in the top 10. I'm sure there's probably some shifting around, but to get right into it, who do you have at number 1?
So I went with DeAndre Hopkins, number 1.
Okay, I did too. I think this is probably going to be the safe pick. I don't know too many people are going to reach on this one, but why did you put him number 1?
Because I think it is the safest, bet right there. It's he's been great. He's been at the top for a few years now. Last year, 115 yards, 11 touchdowns. I don't see a reason why it would change. If anything, he's just going to have more help around him to take the pressure off maybe a little bit, if anything. There's nothing different. There's nothing worse. It's just team's still solid around him. There's no reason that he should drop off. He's only going to be, 27 years old. He's in the prime of his career. No reason for it to drop. So he's going to be just really, really good again. And see here. So last year, where did he finish? In standard, I think 4th last year, maybe. But I think he was even higher in first year before. He's great.
Right. And you have the good young quarterback. They've been playing together for a year and a half now after the injury. So yeah, I think that is just one of them, because you'll see this year in wide receivers, I feel like there could be a debate for almost when to take any guy. So I think safety does play a larger role in the wide receivers. Who has been throwing them to in the past? How have they done historically? Can we actually kind of figure out what we can expect from them? Because they do usually kind of fluctuate a little bit more, just because touchdowns are a little more prevalent in this. And with the big shakeup, let's be honest, Tyreek Hill, no one's going to have him ranked very high. We don't even know if he's going to be playing. And then Antonio Brown moving to another team, Odell moving to another team. There is a lot of shakeup in the wide receivers this year. So being that reason, DeAndre Hopkins is the safest bet, and he happens to be extremely good too.
Yeah,
so number 1.
Yep, it wasn't even really a debate. I don't have a guy I'm debating with him for number 1 right now. So that's easy enough. Number 1's pretty simple. So this is where I think we will differ. I have a feeling we're going to differ here for a little bit, but it's all going to be the same guys are going to be in this little bunch, but I don't think we're going to have the same order.
Gotcha.
So who is your number 2?
So I picked this number 2, and I really did struggle on the next couple of guys.
I feel like I can guess yours. It's not mine.
So, yeah, so if it's not going to be, I can assume what yours is. But mine is Devontae Adams.
Okay, I figured.
And once again, it's because it's a safe pick. I mean, it really is. He is by far the favorite target of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Last year, he finished 3rd. He, in that Green Bay offense, the number 1 wide receiver has always done very, very well catching the football for a touchdown. And the last 3 years, 7th, 12th, 3rd. I think he's only growing stronger as he's getting more used to that number 1 role. He hasn't had any major health concerns. So once again, incredibly safe in that offense.
So I put him actually 4th, but it's nothing against him. There's no concerns. It's just I like the other 2 guys better.
And I really do have no issue with that.
And yeah, he's going to be great. There's no reason he won't be. Still, again, he's going to be 27 years old, same as DeAndre Hopkins. Or he's going to be 26 majority of the year. Same prime of his career. There's no reason he should drop off. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be great. There's just all the wide receivers he has around him are just going to be a year older. They might actually help him a little bit now. Finally, there is no reason for him not to be good. And so he's my number 4 though, which still he's top. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to post this and people are going to be like, "Oh, Adam should be higher." Like, who cares? I'm saying he's a top wide receiver. He's great.
So in saying that, who is your number 2 then?
My number 2 is Julio.
Oh, it is? Okay.
So
I thought you were going with someone else.
I really love Julio Jones. And
he's my number 3, so we can talk about it at the same time.
Yeah, always the touchdown thing was always what people would, go against it, which I've always thought the touchdowns are such a random thing. It's a little weird that he's always been in single digits. I don't know what that is, honestly.
It is
I wonder, it makes no sense because he should be a huge touchdown red zone target. I don't see how he is not. At least he started to do a lot more with it last year, at least get to the 8, but still 113 catches, 1677 yards. Like that guy, he's amazing.
He's a beast. They really got that. It'll be interesting to see if they can get the running game back on track with Devontae Freeman. But if he continues to catch touchdowns, that was the only knock against him. He was always in, the top 5 or so, but he was always kind of below, the Hopkins, the Odell Beckhams, these big play guys that, had more upside. But now you take that away and Julio is as good, if not better of a player than all those guys now. Yep. And if you look at it too, since 2012, he has been in the top 10 every single year besides for 2013 where he got hurt and he only played 5 games. He was ranked 9th, 8th, 2nd, 6th, 5th. And once again, coming in number 3 for me is because number 2 for you. He is incredibly safe to pick. He is incredibly durable, even though he's a big guy that gets hit a ton. You just have to love him. And this will be what is he going to be? He's 29 now, so it might be he turns 30.
He's kind of at the tail end of his prime right now, but he's still in it. He has at least another year of it. And again, I just think Calvin Ridley is only going to help him. People always think that takes away. And I don't think it takes away from elite wide receivers. I think it only can help them.
I agree.
I never bought that argument. Yeah, it will. Later on, like in the ranks, once you get to 10, 15, 20, like those kind of guys, another star player or really good player next to him could hurt them. It's not going to hurt these guys at the top. So Julio should be great. So that's your 3, my 2. So my 3 is Odell.
Okay.
Odell Beckham. Again, I'm probably maybe a little higher than some people like to put Odell. I don't know how much higher. I haven't really looked at the consensus on that yet, but I just think Odell's great, and I think that offense is going to be really good. He was good last year. In 12 games, he still was about the 16th ranked wide receiver and only playing 12 games. His per game would have put him, about 6th last year. And that's with Eli Manning, who's just not that good anymore. He's just not.
He's not.
And so Odell was still the 6th best in points per game. I think he's going to be really good because it's not the only target there. There's Jarvis is going to take away attention from him. I think Njoku will. I think it's going to be really good for him. It's a good spot as long as he comes to play. And you're starting to maybe there's a little slight injury concern with Odell because that's my only concern is because it's starting to become a thing where, he did come into the league with an injury, and it's kind of, I've felt like Odell is, how many times have I thought he's out of a game? Until last 2 years, he has been out for a long time, but even before that, there's a million times where I feel like he gets an injury. I'm like, oh crap, Odell's done. It seems like it happens a lot.
Yeah, and the last 2 years, I mean, that is a legit, because he only played 4 games in 2017, and last year he missed 4, so he played 12. The years before that, I mean, obviously, he almost played a full season. He obviously only played 12 when he was a rookie. But what I love and what I really looked for, and yes, he did miss games, but he, for touchdown-wise, he only caught 3 touchdowns in 2017, which he only played a handful of games, so you take that out, but 6 last year. I mean, that's 12 games, so, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you're getting a touchdown every other game. But when Eli had a little more in the tank, when you're talking about the first 3 seasons, he was catching 12 touchdowns, 13, 10. He was always above 1,300 yards receiving. I mean, I think he can still be that with a young arm of Baker Mayfield. I think that is the difference. I think Eli just can't throw him the deep ball anymore, and that really affected his production. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, if you get it to him a little more on time, maybe they're able to keep him a little more healthy because, like as you mentioned, you can't completely just try to lock him down. You can't rough him up as much as they were doing in New York, because anytime he goes down the field, and Eli can't throw it down there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see him with Baker Mayfield. That's going to be interesting. Where'd you put him, Odell?
He was number 4, so he was next on my list.
Figured, so we had the same top 4 guys, slightly different order. So I guess that's our number 1 tier, pretty much at this point. I feel like it's because after that, I really didn't consider any of the other guys to jump any of those 4. I just didn't quite. They're right there, but they're just not quite there for me.
I agree
right now.
Yeah.
So who is your number 5?
My number 5. Actually, this will be interesting. I think we might have a departure, but I have Juju.
Okay.
And you know how much I love Juju. I loved him last year. It was one of those guys that when you're right, you're right. And I mean, I think he was ranked. I would have to look. Is he ranked? Finished 9th, I believe. Yeah, 9th last year in standard scoring. And that was with Antonio Brown catching 15 touchdowns, having an absurd amount of targets. This guy is going to be that role now. And even last year, when he was number 2, I mean, he's still 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns. He had, oh my God, I mean, it was ridiculous numbers, 111 receptions. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy really is legit. He is that good. He is going to be the number 1 target. Ben is going to need him to perform. I just don't see any downside for this. I can't imagine a world where he finishes outside the top 10. I just love this kid.
So he came in 7th for me. Nothing, no knock against him. He's right here. He's right here. It's just, I had 2 guys I put ahead of him, but he's great. And I wonder how it's going to work. That's the one thing we think it doesn't just Antonio Brown's gone. He just gets all the target.
Well, I don't know if you can get any more.
No, it's like his numbers won't change much, but they don't need to.
No.
But how exactly does it work when he is the main guy? I don't know.
Well, we saw how it worked when it was Antonio Brown. They force fed him the ball, and that's why he got 15 touchdowns.
It's going to be curious.
I think his touchdowns will go up, but I can't imagine him actually doing more yards. And if he does, he's going to be number 1 and wonderful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, injury is the only thing, and maybe he won't. Maybe he won't finish 5th overall, which is what I have him at. But I mean, if he doesn't get hurt, do you see a world where if you picked him as your number 1 wide receiver, that would be a disappointment?
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. He's going to put up great numbers. Like that's the only reason I can just see some guys might go slightly ahead of him. And
okay, sure. Actually, that's probably a better way to go about it. So I have him 5th. Who is your 5th? Who is someone that you ranked ahead of him?
I put Michael Thomas at 5.
Okay.
And I really started looking at Thomas's stats again. He's just kind of not the most exciting player in the world sometimes. But then you really look at what he did, and he had 125 catches for 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. So like, man, he's really good.
Once again, everyone that we're talking about, and I'll talk about the top 8, and that's how I feel about my list. My top 8 are incredibly safe. And Michael Thomas, I had him at the very next pick. So I had him 1 below Juju. I just like Juju's upside a little more. But Michael Thomas is, exactly what he is.
Oh, he's so it's 3 years in the league. 9th, 8th.
Yeah.
It's just
plug it in.
You know what you're getting here. And any other year though, those stats you see from him, you'd have been like, man, that's one of the greatest receivers there ever is. But it's kind of crazy how in 2016, his rookie year, he had 92 for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. He finished 9th. And this past year, 125, 1,409. Numbers look much better, and he only gained 1 spot. Just shows how good the receivers were. And he's consistent. He is going to be a top 10 guy. So if you draft him here, you're just, okay, I got a safe player. Because, okay, there's other guys like maybe later on, like a Mike Evans type or something who I really like, but the safety's not there. Thomas just he's so much safer than him. And that's why, so he's my 5th. So that's why he finished 1 spot ahead of my next guy who actually beat out Juju, which it's Antonio Brown. So Brown is here for me. He's up at number 6 because talent-wise, he should be right at the top. Just what is Oakland's offense? And so maybe I should have him lower, but he kind of like situation sucks. Talent's all the way there, so I kind of sandwich him in between. You know what I mean?
I get that. I actually have Antonio Brown at number 8. So he kind of finishes that, what I was talking about, where I feel very safe.
Yep.
Because I think he will get you points one way or another. But I don't know. Out of all these guys, and I do have one more guy above him, but out of all those guys, Antonio Brown does scare me the most because of what you said. He is in a position which I'm not really sure what the Raiders are doing lately.
No.
I could see him. He was already throwing a fit in Pittsburgh. I could see him 4 games in, and they're 0-4, and him starting to freak out. Derek Carr, as much as I think he has a lot of talent, he's not Ben Roethlisberger. They don't have you don't really know what he's going to be able to do. An entirely different offense. Are they going to put him on an island? Or are they just going to be, thinking that he can beat people when they're doubling him? Because who is going to be the wide receiver on the other side of him? The position he is in is just not as good as everyone else's. But you're right. His talent is unbelievable. He has been unbelievably dominant. So I would have to say that because, his numbers when I looked at him make me want to believe in him. Because
right. I mean, he's at 100 yards or 100 receptions in the last 6 seasons.
2000, and look at it for real. 2014 and on, he has never finished lower than 3rd. It was first, 3rd, second. I mean, I can't deny the numbers, but that was all with Pittsburgh. That was all with Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
That has not been on a dysfunctional team, if you don't consider last year dysfunctional for Pittsburgh. But anyway, so that's why he was number 8 for me. I just get this weird feeling. If we're talking about top 10 guys, it's a position I'm very uncomfortable with.
He's putting together one of the greatest careers we've ever seen, which is crazy.
He is. He's one
and
of
he didn't slow. He really did not slow down last year. Maybe slightly on yardage, but that's it. But just barely. It's not. It's not 2014, 2015. Okay, he'll never. That was his peak. He'll never reach that again.
Right. Look at his yardage game is out of this freaking world.
Yeah.
The fact that he almost went. He went for 1,300 yards last year, and we're like, that's not good for him.
Right.
Because he has gone for 1,800 yards. It is crazy.
It is. He's really, really good.
Yeah, so. 15 touchdowns last year, too. That is just ridiculous. He's not going to catch 15 in Oakland. I can almost promise you that.
But all these guys are really good. This is.
Oh.
The funny thing is, though, this year, if I'm looking at this, the wide receivers they're really good right here. But I think there is a drop-off coming here soon. And the running backs are deeper. It's weird. It's like, do you go get one of these wide receivers now this year? Because the running back is so much deeper. It's weird. Like, I used to love to go running back in drafts. I don't think I would this year.
No, I can.
I don't think you can.
I think there's a lot of deals in that 15 to 20 range for running back.
Yeah.
And I think later on you could almost cluster and you could.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably would go. I'd probably go running back if you were in one of the top 3. I know we're going a little off topic, but if you're going to grab one of the top 3 running backs, then yes, I would consider Gurley in that. I would grab one of those guys.
Yeah.
And then I would probably go after a wide receiver because, the guys up top are a little safer. But am I going to cry if I end up with Antonio Brown? No, I'm not. And so if you can get one of these top 8, you'll be golden. So it kind of lines up perfectly.
So let's see. So that was, Brown was what, my 6th.
Right,
your 8th. So your 6th was Thomas.
Yes, Michael Thomas.
My 7th was Juju. And so who is your 7th?
7th, and you actually mentioned him, but Mike Evans. And,
my 8th.
Okay. And he's also a guy that's a little scary because he's a bit up and down with the Buccaneers, and that's mostly because of quarterback play, and it's every time that Jameis Winston decides to screw up, and he hasn't yet. It looks like he's going to play a full season. Mm-hmm. He hasn't gotten suspended. They don't have Fitzpatrick there anymore. And Mike Evans, when he's on, he's unbelievable. I mean, last year he finished 6th. 2 years ago, he was the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football.
The funny thing is, I feel like this is the guy we're going to get some heat for having up here.
Oh, let's be honest. But he burned me the year before. Yeah. Absolutely burned me. But once again, it was quarterback situation, and he finished 20th in 2017. It's just one of those things. It is what it is. He is a little more volatile, but I like where Tampa Bay is right now. And I really like the, Godwin as a number 2 wide receiver. Howard, I think, is going to be one of the best tight ends in football. If they can get the running game going just a bit to take off some more pressure, one-on-one, especially in the red zone, this guy is very difficult to guard.
When with Evans, what I was saying earlier, like I know Thomas for sure is like safer with the bigger numbers. I mean, it's not like Evans isn't safe. It just depends on what you expect when you get him.
Well, okay,
you know what I mean? Like he's safe. Like he's never been below 1,000 yards in his career.
Here's the thing.
But
yeah, exactly.
The touchdowns.
If someone told you though, you can take Michael Thomas, and I can guarantee you he will finish 6th. Yep. Say that, and then or you can pick Mike Evans, and he could be 1st, or he could be 20th.
That's what it is, and
that's the difference.
I think Evans might be a more talented wide receiver than Michael Thomas. It's debatable, but I think he might be. It's just, his touchdowns are all over the board. 3 is rookie or second year. After he had 12 2 years, and then the other years have been 3, 5, and then last year was 8, so it was fine. But it's all over the board there. But he's always over 1,000 yards. But then his receptions have fluctuated too. It's I really like him, obviously, but he's still 8th.
He should get more love. I mean, last year getting 86 receptions and 1,500 yards. I mean, that's a massive year. He did only catch 8. I think it's a crime that this guy isn't a perennial double-digit touchdown receiver. He should be. And I think maybe this is the year they finally put everything together and they have a little more consistency.
A real player. We'll see.
Right. And you have to love this too. I mean, for big wide receivers, you always think that they get that extra. Same thing with Julio. This guy has never missed more than 1 game in a season. Mm-hmm. And he's played 5 seasons already, so he's very durable as well.
He is. All right, so that's our top 8. So we had the same top 8 guys, and again, this wasn't planned. It's just how it's working out.
They were shuffled around, but
And so they're just in the different order. But then, so number 9, where'd you go? Number 9.
Okay, and this is the top 8 was relatively easy for me to put together. After this, I almost feel like the same thing with running back. Is like you start clumping people, and you're kind of like, I just like him more. Mm-hmm. This one, everything is coming together for him. His health is finally up. His offense is booming. He has one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Andrew Luck. I went with T.Y. Hilton. And, he doesn't catch as many touchdowns. That's why he's not in the discussion for one of those top 8 spots. He's a little more unpredictable. But the guy usually goes out for big yardage. And this offense, this might be the first year where I feel like it's possible for him to get double-digit touchdowns. He's never even gone over 7 touchdowns. Because that offense is so dynamic, and there's no way that you can key in on one person. And Luck was deadly last year, and I expect him to build on that.
The funny thing is, you mentioned health. He missed the most games he's ever missed last year. Did you know that?
I feel like he's always hobbled though.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, because I thought the same thing, and then I look and I'm like, wait. Before last year, he had played every single game the 3 years before that. Missed a game the year before that, played every game the year before, and missed 1. So he had only missed 2 games in his entire career before last year. But I've had the same thought. Like I think he just played 2017 just injured.
Yeah, and you can he did have 109 targets, but he only caught 57 balls.
Yeah, that
was also with Luck was out.
So a bad season. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of bizarre.
And he's my number 10. So he's not my number. His number. He's 10th for me.
So who is your number 9?
AJ Green.
All right. He did not make my top 10.
This is a pretty much strictly talent and potential here. Because it's been, he's 2 of the last 3 years he's played abbreviated seasons. He's been hurt. And I'm not an Andy Dalton fan. But Andy Dalton, I think, he's good enough. He's obviously been good enough at times with AJ Green. And the thing is, we're never. We just like it's like, are we just keep waiting for the AJ Green that we saw his second and third year, or even like there was that first 10 games of 2016. He was really like 66 catches for 964 yards in only 10 games. And that was like, maybe that I'm still holding on to that. But this is probably the last. This is it, though. If he doesn't have the year this year, he's done getting ranked like this for me. Because he is going to be, what, he's 30 years old already? He's going to be 31 before the season. So this is it. That's AJ Green is third. Man, what the heck happened there? I remember AJ Green drafting him in one of our leagues here.
Coming out of Georgia.
Man, so he's going to be 31. So this is kind of it, I think. It's the last time I'm going to rank him up here. And I guess a lot of it, too, was I like the guys below, but nobody I was really like, okay, I have to put him there. Like Keenan Allen, which, did he make your top 10?
It was my number 10.
Yeah,
good pick.
So I figured, yeah.
I'm actually really surprised.
Yeah, it had to be Keenan Allen. I figured you had him there. So that's your,
And I love AJ Green. I had him last year. I've had him multiple years. He is a phenomenal, phenomenal talent. But for all the reasons, I mean, you hit on every single thing that I was going to talk about. And that's why he's probably a little bit lower on my list, just because he's getting a little bit older. I don't love the offense entirely. I mean, I like that Boyd is finally starting to do something. But 2 out of 3 seasons missing, almost, you play 10 seasons, then you do play full, and then you play only 9 games. And even more so, he's struggling to get to that double-digit touchdown in those past 3 seasons. Obviously, he's hurt, so you give him a little bit of credit. I just, I think his better days are behind him, and I think everyone knows that if you're going to play Cincinnati, that's the guy you have to key on. So I just don't see a whole lot of upside. Once again, if he plays a full season, I fully expect him to get 1,000 yards and probably 6-7 touchdowns. I think that's where he's at right now with Dalton at the helm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just holding out hope. I've seen it. I've seen the tail in the past. Maybe one last chance.
It's with a heavy heart that he finally doesn't make my top 10.
So Keenan Allen was your 10. I'll say he was my 11th.
I'm actually surprised because you could have gone a lot of different ways for this one. There was a lot of guys in this swath, if you will. But Keenan Allen, I'm
telling you, I think we've done this enough where I just know who you're picking at certain spots.
And I like Keenan Allen. Let's be honest,
I like him.
The only reason he was ever downgraded is because he had a couple freak injuries, and people got in their head that he was injury prone. But it was like it was a ruptured spleen. So the last 2 years he's played a full season both years. Awesome. He's on a good offense. Once again, he has guys, Mike Williams coming up, Hunter Henry, which I love personally. Everyone knows that. He's going to be able to kind of run around freely and does what he does best. He's not always the biggest touchdown magnet. I mean, in fact, his rookie season was the best with 8. The past 2 seasons when he's been at full health, he's had 6 each time. But, he's going to catch 100 balls. He's going to go for about 1,200 yards. Mm-hmm. And if for whatever reason he has a couple weeks where he actually gets in the groove and gets in the end zone, then great. I mean, I got a guy that can even go higher. But not a whole lot not to like about this guy. And once again, I think he's safer than a few of the other guys I was looking at below him. And one of them that I have to mention because I know people are really going to be talking about it, but it's going to be Thielen. Everyone's going to say, where's Thielen on this top 10? I have a feeling. Hey, I looked at him, and tell you the truth, the end of his year freaks me out way too much to put him in that top 10. And even more so, Diggs was not that far behind him. And I really don't know what they're going to be doing with that offense. I even think they're going to run it a little more with Delvin Cook. They should at least. He's deadly. If it's an even split between Thielen and Diggs, they're both going to be good, but they're both going to be outside the top 10 for me.
Yeah, Thielen's going to be the one that we'll see what I don't know where I'm going to rank him at. I don't know what to think about him. But
I know you were more, well, you also love Diggs, right? You were the guy that said, hey, I think Diggs is going to be better than Thielen, which you were, I mean, really it was close. Diggs really put the pedal to the metal. He finished in the top 15, I think. What was he, 12th last year or something? Like, he was quietly very good.
Well, so I will say my initial ranks, before I really look at it again, I do have Diggs a spot ahead of Thielen.
Okay, and I truly don't have any issue with that. Thielen was so consistent for the first half of the season. 100 yards with 1 touchdown almost every single game. So, yeah, I do like that. But, man, I don't know. Do you have his stats up? I just his last 5-6 games where it got real dicey.
Well, that's where he was so good at the beginning of the year. But it's like as soon as like teams started maybe I'm telling you, I'm not like sitting there watching game tape to tell you exactly what happened, but it's like did they start keying on him a little bit more, and that he just couldn't quite handle it because the last 5 games here. This is where it really is like, oh geez, what happened? So his last 5 games: 5 for 28 and a touchdown, 5 for 70, 2 for 19, 5 for 80, 3 for 38. And
up and down, but very, very average.
And then the game before those 5, he did have 8 for 125 and a touchdown. Very good game. But the 2 before that, 7 for 66 and 4 for 22. So in reality, 7 of the final 8 games were, so he had 9 great games and 7 very mediocre games, or mediocre to bad games. So it's just that first 8 games were so good. So just ridiculously good. 100 yards every game, touchdowns in 6 of the 8, where I think we're skewed a little bit, and we really got to look at what he did at the end of the year. I mean, he's not going to do exactly what he did at the end of the year, but he's not going to do what he did at the beginning of the year. I think it's more of a mix. In the end of the day, the number is probably similar.
Yeah, and I mean, the one that really stands out to me, though, is the amount of receptions he was able to get through the first 8 weeks. When he went to double-digit receptions a handful of times. Yep. Or at least nearing it. At the end, I mean...
Targets were down, too.
Yeah, 5 or below. I mean, every single week 13 and on. And even more so, it's the same thing I'm dealing with on as far as Nick Chubb goes. I love the player, but if this happens again, it worries me because this is playoff time, right? And, I build it for the long haul. Obviously, you want to make the playoffs. You want to get... But if you're picking this high, that actually does come into play for me.
Mm-hmm. And with Minnesota, I mean, is Kirk Cousins any good?
I mean,
I say no.
So.
I'm still upset with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think so, but I don't know why they couldn't put it together last year.
It seems like they should be able to. Seems like they have enough talent, but we'll see.
Did you have any wide receivers that you were tempted to put on here, but you couldn't justify? Like for some reason, you're just like, I have this feeling, or even a top 10 guy that you think has the best chance of coming out of nowhere and grabbing the number 1 spot?
Honestly, there wasn't like below 10 first. There really isn't a guy that I'm like, I have to put him up towards like the top 10. That guy just wasn't there for me this year. He just, I don't know why. It's weird. This year feels very straightforward to me because I'm looking at it right now and even like I love Kenny Galladay. I've made that clear on this thing. I don't trust Stafford right now to make Kenny Galladay that player. Because Kenny Galladay is a guy I think has the talent to jump into the top 10. I really do. But I don't trust Stafford. Okay, here we go. Oh, God. I'm going to buy into this. Sammy Watkins.
Nope. I would love to. We all know he has a talent.
Top
he's on a
10, Sammy Watkins.
I mean, I like the ball. If he
this
stays
is obviously
healthy, it's
like
quite
Tyreek
possible.
Hill, expecting Tyreek Hill to be gone.
Yeah. And okay. It's one of those that I want to. Every year, I'm always like, if he stays healthy, if.
Okay, Sammy Watkins is only going to be 26 years old.
It's still incredibly young. But, I mean, what was I don't know, how many games did he play last year?
He played 10.
I mean, and that was probably one of his better seasons.
40 for 519 was what he got last year.
Yeah, the health is what it comes down to.
Okay. Healthy Sammy Watkins, 16 games, no Tyreek Hill.
Oh, yeah.
He's up there.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Can you rank him up there and pick him up there? God, no.
No. He would be the most frustrating player to have. And I know this because I've had him, just in case.
But I don't like this tier. Let's talk about that. We'll get into wide tiers in a few weeks when we go deeper. I'm telling you, that's why there's not a lot of guys that would jump up for me. I mean...
Man, there are so many.
They're just not there.
I want to talk about.
Tyler Lockett.
Okay, thank you. I really wanted to talk about him. Because if you look at what he did last year,
no Doug Baldwin. I mean, we like DK Metcalf as a prospect, but he's not going to really be there yet. Tyler Lockett has to be good, I think.
Well, he finished number 11th last year in standard, right? And if there is no Baldwin or whatever is happening with Baldwin,
yeah, he's gone. He's done. I think it's official. Yeah, it's done. He's done.
So if that is official, he is the number 1 wide receiver. He should be, and he was. I mean, as the number 2, he finished 11th. But for some reason, I cannot buy into it.
I've never been able to either. But I'm looking at you look at where he finished last year. You think of the situation. Everything about it tells you he should be up here. He really should. And I don't know. Maybe what is it? Why? I don't understand. I mean, because he only had 57 catches. That's maybe why last year.
And 10 touchdowns, which feels aggressive to like be able to. I mean, in the years before that, like he came out of. We always thought he was gonna be good, and I always feels like he's hurt, but he always plays.
Yep, but he was just okay, but he wasn't like overly bad. He was just there. He had other guys around him, but now he doesn't. So we'll see. He's very interesting.
He's going to be a lottery ticket.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I feel about him.
But all right, I think I'll do it for top 10 and some wide receivers. But in a couple weeks, we'll get back to our full ranks. We'll go deeper into, once that 10 to 20, 30, man, it's just all over the board. I don't know. I really got to sit and look at it yet and figure out what I'm going to do. But we will, if you want to see, I guess, what I think right now, just kind of first glance at it, go check out my ranks. They're up on fantasyfootballprofit.com. You can take a look there. But that'll be it for this week. We'll be back next week. We'll probably talk, quarterbacks, tight ends, probably
both.
Yeah.
Because we'll move it along on
that one.
Yeah,
that's a tougher one, so we'll probably put it into one. But we'll bring that to you next week. Talk to you guys then.